they're gifted physically, right? But it's having the ability to stay locked in day to day, and give it your best day in and day out.
So your parents are doing the negotiating for you at that time and helping you make a decision, or who's
Well,
making?
well, I would say at that time, it just doesn't come on players like that unless you're like a phenom, 15-year-old LeBron
I
James.
see.
But
So you're
for
just in
me,
talks a little bit.
yeah, for me, it just you go out to these perfect game tournaments, being in travel ball or in travel sports, you get that exposure, and then they start coming out to high school watching you, but they're not really allowed to talk to you until junior year. I think junior year, senior year, I got an agent, um, and they just guide you along the way. They're allowed to draft you out of high school, which I was in the 47th round by Seattle
I saw
Mariners.
that, and you passed, and then you got drafted again, right?
I did. I went to a junior college in Florida for a year, Central
Knowing you're going to
State.
be drafted to increase your position, correct?
That's how I looked at it. And a lot of players that had the same goal, um, for me, it was go to school, yes, but also I wanted to fulfill this dream that I had. And so, yes, it was drafted out of high school, but I'm 17. I'm a little young in
Wow,
my eyes.
17 years old.
17. I was young, on the younger side of just graduating high school, right? But then to take that leap into the professional realm, and start that career, I felt like I was a little too premature
Oh
for
my
me.
God, your mind as a guy, I guess, doesn't develop until you're 25, and you're
It's
already a
really sad.
seasoned
Yeah,
player at that age. You can't. It's like,
right. And so the junior college route was definitely the best route for me. I was able to learn, but also devote as much as I can to baseball while still being in the school, how still being able to be drafted the next year. So if you went to D1 in baseball, I can't speak for other sports. If you're a high school kid, get drafted or have the desire to play professional ball, if you go D1, you have to wait till you're a junior. You have to wait 3 years,
oh, it
regardless if
doesn't
you're.
apply to junior college.
It doesn't. So that was probably one of the bigger
Oh,
reasons that I chose JUCO too. So if you're
JUCO.
even if you don't get drafted out of high school, you just have the hopes and dreams of one day. And if that happens, I'm going type mentality, great. But if you go D1, University of Delaware, University of
Sure.
Florida, Alabama, you have to wait till you're a junior.
Well, when you were, you worked your way up the ranks. Some people stay there their whole career, correct, in the minor leagues, and they
Yeah.
never make it. But when you get that tap, do they always make it special when they surprise you with the tap that you're going up? How did it happen to you? And who did you call first?
And my dad was the first one I called, but really,
Did you cry?
no, I didn't cry. I was probably one of those. That was the celebratory moments where I was like, wow. I wasn't competing. I wasn't locked in at the moment. I got the call. Actually, it was right before the game in AAA. Tony DeFrancesco called me into the office, and I was pitching okay, but not lights out. Yes, I could. I was on the 40 man, and yes, I was pitching good enough to where I could have been called up, but I wasn't pitching lights out to where, wow, this.
So you didn't feel
So I
like
was
it was
caught
a
off
shoe in.
guard.
I see.
Yeah, I was kind of caught off guard because maybe he was calling me in for whatever reason. Managers typically do it often. Call you
Okay,
in.
so this is just another call in for you.
Yeah, the manager's office is in the locker room somewhere set to the side. So the manager always walks through, pokes his head around, sees what's going on, but he'll call players in throughout the day, daily, just to check in. Hey, how you doing? How was last game? How you feeling? All right today? You good? So I thought it was one of those.
So he calls you in, and did he get right to it, or did he make you? How did he?
Nah, he kind of just brought up, about the big leagues. Do you think you're good enough to pitch there type thing. I was like, yeah, casual conversation, and then he just says, well, good, you're going.
Oh man, that
Good
must be the
path.
best part of their job is to get to tell this news to their people that they've known for so long.
Yeah, and Tony D, he's been around, great manager. He was kind of a hard ass too, tough guy, but he didn't show a whole lot of emotion. He probably was pretty more
He's
like.
done it a million times,
He
right?
probably, yeah. All right, great. You're going to the big leagues. Get out of here. I got to figure out
All right, yeah, get the hell out of here.
who I'm playing for tonight's game, AAA.
So you're on a plane that night or the next day?
I want to say that night.
So
Yeah.
you're on a plane and you're going to wherever you need to go.
Houston, flying to Houston, which That's who I was with at the time.
For professional baseball players, who tells you where you're going to stay that night? Do they keep it
Oh,
very
they,
secret?
no, they book it all. I mean, so I flew in to Houston. I was at that time called up from our farm team, if the Houston Astros, to the major league team, right? So anytime someone makes a transaction like that, they stay at this hotel. I don't know if it's the same one. It's the Hyatt or the Regency downtown in Houston. So they already have everything booked. They just call you, give you your itinerary, hop on a flight, and everything's handled. You know, they pick you up, and typically everything's paid for.
But as you travel with the team and go on road trips, they just have an itinerary for the whole team. Everyone's expected to stay at the same place, or do they have special accommodations for other people?
Yeah, you have team hotel. You have everything is pretty much given to you, food wise, travel, and home. You know, but you have options. You know, if you didn't want to stay in that hotel for whatever reason, you know.
Are you allowed to have, like, let's say you meet a girl out there, are you allowed to have her come to the hotel? Or is that frowned upon?
No one knows.
Okay. So nobody's checking on that?
I mean, not for the most part.
Because there have been NFL players released for that.
Yeah. I mean, when I came up, I tried to stay out of trouble for the most part. And there's some NFL teams that have curfews and things.
Sure.
But I would say for the most part in the major leagues, I would say most players are trusted through the eyes of the GM and the owners.
I see. So until you give me a reason not to trust you,
of course.
You're good.
You're a grown man. You know, you live your life. But at the same time, exactly, it's like we can choose to discipline. I haven't ever seen it. Maybe more so in the minor leagues and you know, in baseball, the minor leagues. You know, you're starting your career at 18. 19, 20, coming up, small towns. So
majority was you were a starter at the beginning and not relief, or
yes,
were you? Okay.
I was always a starter.
So you know you have 5 days until your next start, and you know, do you take advantage of that? Maybe go out a little bit more and then dial it in closer to your start.
Yeah, of course. So you know, Bert Hooton would always, it was a AAA pitching coach that I had, that I would always say, like, all I ever drank was beer and water. I would drink beer on the days after I'd pitch and water every other time.
I see. So it's right after your pitch. You know, you got
Usually,
time.
You got some time. Now, as a reliever, you know, I only relieved for the Phillies and a few teams in the majors, but I was a reliever just strictly in the major leagues for a short time. So I didn't really get a chance to build up that regiment, right? Of what can I do, what can I can't do. At that time, I was 26, 28, on the back end of my career, and I had to stay locked in.
Yeah.
So you know, a dinner and a drink was always permittable in anybody's eyes, you know. And there's maybe some guys that get carried away. I wasn't one of them, but there was some people that maybe did dabble a little bit too much.
Well, if they already have like a long contract, they're more likely to do that, right?
But I was just going to say, you're an adult, and it's also, you know, your career. You know, if something's stopping you or holding you back, you should cut it off and not continue to do whatever.
Well, we've seen what happened to Josh.
Whether it's food or
what's his name?
a supplement or
Josh
or something else.
He ruined his. He was going to be like an all-timer. What was his name? Josh.
Oh, Hamilton.
Yeah, Hamilton.
Great baseball player.
He went down the wrong path.
He did, yeah. And
you faced him.
Yeah, faced him. I think he grounded out, but
this guy.
I just heard he was a great guy. You know, being in that situation, and especially he was a superstar. Being a superstar, you're open up to a lot more vulnerability, because a lot of people think you're
stress.
just a computer or you're just some type of superhuman. Versus I'm a real person.
I see that is true. They don't look at you.
I'm just doing something that most people probably couldn't do, or just dreamed of doing that, or doing other things.
Yeah, you do get looked at as like you're not a real person anymore. You're like a god or star, or
now
they don't humanize you.
Yeah, exactly. Which can cause a lot of distraction. I remember while I was pitching for the Phillies in 2016, Dave Hernandez, a good friend of mine, he was a reliever. And I remember in the bullpen, you know, we would talk, sit out there, because our role wasn't until usually later in the game anyway. So for the first few innings, we're, you know, chatting it up, talking. And I remember he had a bad stint, maybe a few outings where he wasn't very, very good. And everybody knew it, but he had Twitter at the time. And as an athlete,
Oh boy.
it's a gateway to let a lot of fans, people who kind of think highly of you, but if you're performing, piss poor or on the other end of the spectrum in their eyes, it just leads to, I could either create you to be a superstar or I'm going to just tear you down. And they kind of tore him down a little bit through Twitter. So,
so he's checking his Twitter when he shouldn't be and seeing what people are saying.
Exactly. So for me, I was like, dude, you got, it's great. It's a great access for many things in life, right? Twitter and social media. It opened up for a lot of people to connect around the world. However, he's on a platform to where Twitter.
Are there players who won't look at what people are saying ever? Like they're just
I
so
didn't have
disciplined
any
with that?
social media until after.
So you just weren't looking at all.
I
just stayed off.
The only where I could look was, I guess, Google. I had internet.
Sure, yeah.
But I just didn't have any social media tied to me for that reason alone. Because even if I was pitching good, I didn't want the praise, and if I was pitching bad, I obviously don't want the ridicule and all that stuff that comes. It's just any player. I mean, you're LeBron James, you hear it.
Going into ESPN.com and seeing your name, or going onto Wikipedia and seeing you have a Wikipedia page. Who created that? Isn't it weird being?
Yeah,
I'm sure you have to look at it, right?
There's somebody out there that types it up. I'm not sure, but yeah, I guess it's pretty cool. I always thought too, if I'm like, don't have an ID or wherever.
Yeah, Google me.
But I never use that.
Officer, I'm fine. Just
I know. I forgot my insurance and ID at the house. No, I never use that, but it is cool to self-reflect. It's something that I never really did in the moment, but just to look back and see some of the things that I accomplished, especially since some of the videos now. We're talking about social media. I can go on YouTube and maybe research some of the things that I did in the past. And like my sister sent me a video of striking out Mike Trout 10 years ago. I don't have it anywhere saved or anything, but she did.
Oh, I'd be drunk looking at videos of me striking out these guys.
Yeah.
I'm like, I'm old now, man.
Yeah. No, I do sometimes, but a great experience.
Man, and one thing I wanted to ask about